hayom, Shabbat shalom, ma yafe hayom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Before we start the service with lighting of the candles, we know that these past days have been difficult for all of us, and especially those in Israel waiting for the release of the 4 that we'll talk about in just a few moments. But hard to believe that there can be people still in this world that are as cruel as they are. And we wanted to start with an opening prayer and a song that reflects, I think, what all of us are feeling. And what's special is for all of us to be able to come together as a family. We're from all over. I know so many different places, but we're all here because we gather in Vail. So for 503 days, we've prayed for and kept alive the hope for the return of the hostages that have been held captive in Gaza. And I know that while every Israeli that's been murdered by the terrorists, well, for each of them, it's carved a hole deep within all of our hearts. Ariel and Kfir, just children, together with Oded, who is the senior member of his kibbutz, were returned home yesterday for burial in Israel. But as we learn how they died, we're reminded of the savage cruelty of Hamas, the crime of a 9-month-old Kfir, 4-year-old Ariel, and an 84-year-old Oded. Their crime simply was that they were Jews. So we light this yahrzeit candle that we have behind us, and it's a time of profound grief and sadness, yet it's hard not to feel, I think, overwhelming anger as to what has happened and what's still going on. So we shall forever remember the heartbreaking image that all of us saw of Shiri shielding her 2 beautiful children from the evil unfolding around them, and it's branded forever, I think, upon all of our hearts. And still yet another shocking example what can only mirror the Nazis. This Kfir and Ariel's mother was not with them for one last time as the bodies were returned yesterday. So over the years, we've offered prayers in an attempt to comfort those in mourning, but not even me. I don't think that I could even think of going beyond saying, when will this ever end? So in our darkest moments, we recite and find comfort in David's words through the 23rd Psalm, that he wrote, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. You spread a table before me in the presence of mine enemies, and anoint my head with oil. My cup is overflowing." But as we comfort each other, we pray that all the captives in the weeks ahead will be returned to their families. We pray that the memories of Ariel and Kfir and their mother Shiri, as well as Oded, will be, as the psalmist teaches, that they'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So still we can't express, I don't think, the multitude of words, both anger and profound grief, that we hold space in silence. Eli, Eli, the beautiful poem that was written by Hannah Senish that reflected to all of us as she was a paratrooper and died working to save those lives in Palestine. Eli, Eli. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer
Le'olam hachol ve'hayam rishrush shel hamayim barak hashamayim tfilat ha'adam hachol ve'hayam rishrush shel hamayim barak hashamayim these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the seas, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Since the time of Moses, there's been the rules and the laws of mourning. And even after his sister Miriam died, he was told to get out of his tent, come back to his people, and take care of his people. And that tradition is followed for all of us, that if you're sitting Shiva, your Shiva stops when it becomes Shabbat. Because they said Shabbat still has to have some joy within it, and you're not allowed to be sitting Shiva during Shabbat. So obviously we're going to continue with our Shabbat service, but still keeping in mind the horrors of what's going on in Gaza and to our people. So we'd like to begin with the lighting of the candles on page 2, if someone hasn't lit candles or would like to for us tonight. Thank you. May the Shabbat candles we now light inspire us to see justly and gently and to look honestly and with kindness and to see what's holy in each other.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We turn to page 4 at the bottom of the page. Hine ma tov. Truly, as a family, one family that's now come together tonight, we're grateful to be celebrating together Shabbat.
And it does feel extra good and extra special that we have the immense privilege of being able to be here together on this Shabbat evening. So if you would just take a moment to say Shabbat Shalom or introduce yourself to someone sitting nearby. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, ya la 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 la. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
The bottom of page 8, let's continue with our family prayer. May we never take for granted the gift of Shabbat as we sit nestled in the Rocky Mountains, sharing this humble moment with family and friends. May the satisfaction of celebrating Shabbat hearten our spirits. Let Shabbat peace bring quiet to our souls. Allow this time set aside for song and prayer to bring us closer together in thoughts and deeds. The space we share become our place of devotion, going with reverence and filled with our traditions. May the end of this week encourage us to examine our actions and look ahead toward the new week. Be worthy of all of God's blessings. The top of page 8. Shalom Aleichem as we welcome the angels of peace.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzitchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And after a long journey, the pilgrims finally arrived in Jerusalem. Just outside of Jerusalem, they said, we lift our eyes to the mountains, from where does my help come? Esa Einai, page 12 at the top of the page.
Shamayim ba'aretz, Ezri me'im Adonai. Oh, say Shamayim ba'aretz, Esainai el harim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Esainai el harim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai. Oh, say Shamayim ba'aretz, Ezri me'im Adonai. Oh, say Shamayim ba'aretz.
In the town of Sfat in the 16th century was the center of Jewish mysticism. It was there that Shlomo Alkabetz wrote the beautiful poem of Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride, page 16.
Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'ribor echad, Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad, Shmo echad, L'shemo tiferet ve'litchila. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, ki hi mekor averacha, merash mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshavat chila. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Mikdash melech ir melecha, kol mitzim etahapaycha, rav lach shevet be'emecha vacha, vehu yachmol alai chemla. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
Bottom of page 18, we rise, face the rear of the sanctuary as we greet the Sabbath bride.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha v'tzala, tachem unei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
May be seated. We had an interesting breakfast brunch meeting this past week with the owner of Venture Sports, not Jewish, and he's sponsoring the Israeli bike ride that we're doing with the wounded Israelis coming up this summer. And he's going to be renting out his bikes and organizing all of it for us. We said, what is your connection to Israel apart from having a gigantic Israeli flag hanging in Venture Sports? And he started quoting from the Bible. And he said, Israel is our home too, with an instrument of 10 strings and the lute. And he's quoting the psalm that we're reciting in just a moment. And the connection between that community and our community and what we're going to be offered this summer brings peace to many of us as we're going to be helping these Israelis that are straight out of Gaza coming here to be with us. And we're going to take them up to the top of the pass, maybe on an electric bike, right? We're not sure. But it's going to be a great program for everybody to sign up and ride with them, and especially sponsored by such wonderful people here. So we continue the bottom of page 20, Tzaddik Tamar, together.
Tzaddik Tamar yifrach ke'eres bavanon yizkeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim bera'ananim yihiu lehagi
We love all of you that are watching us from coast to coast all the way out to Hawaii and Pearl Harbor. We do wave and say hello. What a strange thing to see Steve and Elsa Reese here. I'm usually waving to you. So I said, as long as you're here, as brief as it may be, if you'd lead us on page 23, just for today. And you're here. I know. It's very exciting.
Just for today, I will live one day only, forgetting yesterday and tomorrow, and not trying to solve the whole problems of life once.
Just for today, I'll be unafraid of life and death, unafraid to enjoy the beautiful and be happy. People are as happy as they make up their minds to be.
Just for today, I will adjust myself to what is and not try to adjust everything to suit me. If I cannot have what I like, I will try to like what I have.
Just for today, I'll be agreeable, cheerful, charitable, do my best, praise people for what they can do, not criticize them for what they cannot do. And if I find fault, I'll forgive it and forget it. I'll try not to improve nor regulate anybody except myself.
Just for today, I will have a plan. I may not follow it exactly, but I will have one. It will save me from worry, hurry, and indecision.
Just for today, I'll get people off my nerves and not get on theirs. I appreciate them for what they do and what they are.
Just for today, I will not show it if my feelings are hurt.
Just for today, I'll find a little time for quiet to relax, realize what life is and can be. Time to think about God, get a better perspective of myself.
Just for today, I will look at life with fresh eyes and discover the wonder of it. I will know that as I give to the world, so the world will give to me.
Thank you. And now you know what it's like to be here. This is good. This is good. We turn to page 24 and rise for our call to worship. We join together.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
And may be seated. Top of page 26. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, who brings the evening and separates the gates and opens heaven. Page 26 at the top of the page.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Uma'avir yom umevi laila umavdil bein yom uvein laila. Uma'avir yom umevi laila umavdil bein yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv
You wrote
aravim.
that?
Yes, I did.
I have to give the author credit.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to hear more of what Cantor Michelle has written, not just from last year, but for this summer, on August,
On July 15th.
thank you,
On July 15th, we're having a mountaintop concert. So there will
with
be some
music that she's written
some
together
of some of my compositions with Colleen, and we have Chava Morel coming in, and we have Billy Jonas coming in, and we have two of the members of Jacob's Ladder, which is a Jewish bluegrass band, phenomenal. They're coming in, all kinds of instruments. Everyone's going to be doing original compositions all
Mark
together.
your calendars, and I
Mark your
expect the Reese
calendars.
family to be here. Come back, okay? And for those of you watching and you're not here for the winter, it's too cold, all right, it's July, so come back and see us then. Let's turn to page 30 at the top of the page for our oldest fixed prayer within Judaism. We'll join with the cantor in the Shema.
And Perry is going to lead us in Shema, and then Abby's going to lead us in V'ahavta right after that.
Very exciting. You didn't know when you're coming tonight you're going to be leading us, did you?
Surprise, Perry.
Come over here.
My new Hebrew student.
Thank you.
Very good.
Shema
Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Mahuto
Le'olam va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ושופך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Aleichem emet.
Thank you. Well, for the last 503 days, the Hashkivenu was recited in Israel at Hostage Square. Hashkivenu talks to us on this Shabbat evening how we seek peace and comfort, shield us from hatred and destruction, plague so many corners of the world, console those in need. And as we join together, page 34, we join together with their voices as well.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzitzeinu uvoinu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
as we read in the book of Exodus, in 6 days the Lord created the heavens and the earth. The seventh day ceased from his work and rested. Turn to page 36 and join together Vishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
There are those in our community who are in need of healing of body, mind, or spirit. If you have a person in your life in need of healing, please feel free in just a moment as we move about the sanctuary to mention their name as we think about them. Page 38 at the top of the page, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We offer prayers for full healing to Gail Balin, Sue Beiser, Sonny Brodsky and Phil Brodsky, Diane Ehrlich, Chris Eldridge and Larry Ellens, Carol Ann Finn, Barbara Goldberg, Deborah Goldman, Mark Grabowski, Lori Hellman, Mike Herman, Karen Hirschberg, and Jody Israel, Re'e Ivri, Harriet Jaffe, and Mary Sue Katz, Herman Keek, Phil Krasnow, and Judith Landau, Pam Lessing, Stephen Reese, Bruce Rogers, Coralie Rogers, Bill Silvers, B. Sklarowitz, Kelly Soslin, Dina Stempler, Lisa Stryer, Merle Steyer, Marcy Tracy, Donna Weinstock, Jerry Weinstock, and our prayers for healing to the Israeli soldiers and hostages in Israel that will be healing and are healing. If there's anyone else. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor Shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I'm so grateful we have so many volunteers wanting to come up and lead us as we turn to page 40 in our prayer books and rise.
And Mark and Ella are going to do Chatzi Kaddish for us.
What could be better?
Surprise.
Gadol v'yitkadosh shemei Rava.
Amen.
Ve'alma divra kirutei ve'amlich malchutei.
V'chayechon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael Bagala Bagala u'v'zman kariv
V'imeru.
Amen. Yehei shmei Rava mevarach Le'alam olam e'amaya Yitzbarach
Yitbara v'ishtabach v'pa'ar v'tromam v'naseh v'tadar v'tale v'talal shemei dekutsha
B'rechu
le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiram be'alma
v'imeru.
Amen.
Thank you. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Page 42, we join together. And then silently through page 57.
Ananana Adonai. Ananana Svatai Tiftach. Hananana Ofi Agid Tehilatecha Ananana Adonai Ananana Svatai Tiftach Hananana Ofi Agid Tehilatecha Ananana Adonai Ananana Svatai Tiftach Ananana Ofi Agid Tehilatecha.
May be seated when you've completed the Amida. Hear my prayer, and may my prayers be worthy of being heard. As the cantor continues on page 56, Yilu Ratzon.
Yehiyu Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Bekoali, Bekoali Leratzon, Imre free, Beyom libi, Lefanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Bekoali, Bekoali.
Thank you. Could you imagine if the 12 tribes of Israel decided that the leadership of Israel was now going to be done by choosing delegates and then voting on who should succeed Moses? Well, this past Monday, as we celebrated President's Day, not buying a mattress or granite countertops, but really by looking back, I wanted to look back thousands of years into our own Jewish history, how the leadership of the children of Israel understood the concept of leadership and a peaceful succession. Well, Moses, who had led the Israelites out of Egypt, split the Red Sea, and then marched up and down Sinai, brought the very law itself to the people. He led the Israelite nation for 40 years. And finally, Moses, upon being informed by God that he will not be permitted to enter the promised land, and he realizes that he needs to identify and prepare his successor. Well, there was no nomination process that we've read about or electoral college. Moses alone was told to select Joshua. Well, what is it about Joshua that really makes him the best for this position? What does Moses do to prepare Joshua and the people he will lead, well, for a shared future in this new type and style of leadership that was going to be different than Moses? So we read, then the Lord said to Moses, go up the mountain to look out over the land to which I have given to the children of Israel. And when you've seen it, look well, because you will not be entering into it. I thought that's a little harsh. But Moses spoke to God, and he says, may the Lord, the God of spirits of all flesh, appoint a leader over the community, so the congregation of the Lord will not be like sheep who have no shepherd. So God said to Moses, take note of Joshua. He's a man who's inspired. He's a ish asher ruach bo. He's a man with whom the Spirit dwells. Lay your hands upon him, have him stand before the congregation, and then invest him with your authority. So Moses did just as he was commanded. Moses does prepare Joshua for this experience to succeed him as the leader of the Jewish people. We have 600,000 that are in front of him now. Joshua is to take over where Moses left off. He knows the privilege of guiding the Israelites that are now about to enter into the promised land. So there were three things, again, that Moses had to do before the 600,000 Israelites crossed the Jordan River into Israel. First, Moses is commanded to lay his hands upon Joshua. This is smicha, just as done today, as was done for myself. When you become a rabbi, they lay their hands upon you in the tradition of Moses. Second, Moses is commanded, he's told, stand Joshua before your congregation. And the last thing was, Moses is commanded to invest Joshua with some of his, Moses' authority. Now, God's first two commands to Moses deals with a position of power. God's third command, however, the command to Moses to invest Joshua with some of his authority is really less clear. How do you transfer your authority to 600,000 people? Well, there was no constitution like we have today, whereby John Adams assumed the authority of George Washington. So the rabbinic commentators, they explained how Moses would invest Joshua with some of his authority. So Moses' challenge as he prepares the people and his successor Joshua for this, new style of leadership that was different than what Moses offered. Joshua was chosen by Moses as the successor because he was ish asher ruach bo. We're told that he was an inspired individual. So this inspired person, this leader who's inspired, Rashi, 1,000 years ago, he's the great French commentator, he said, such a leader is to be tolerant, but neither passive nor spineless. Remember, this is 1,000 years ago. Rashi said that a leader knows their own mind and will stand up for their own views, but at the same time, they're capable of changing their mind. And ish asher ruach bo, that leader who's inspired, such a leader was Joshua, and his spirit was strong, but in no way inflexible. For the quality of this, Joshua was chosen. He was chosen with his mind and with his heart, but also with Joshua's head. That's how the elections took place thousands of years ago. What a difference from the way the last 47 presidents have been elected. And for the future presidents that we will be looking forward to through election, I say, wouldn't it be nice if all the future leaders had that ish asher ruach bo, that they were a person of spirit and a leader who's inspired. And all we can hope is that we learn from Moses and Joshua from thousands of years ago, and we learn these lessons well that our Torah had to teach. Amen. After the death of the two children and our one senior gentleman who was received home yesterday, the chief rabbi of the Israel Defense Forces came forward, and instead of speaking and giving more of a sermon, he read Psalm 86. And I wasn't as familiar with the exact wording, but when I look at it and I realize the anger that's found within the psalm, but also the hope. And I want to read just a portion of what he wrote and has delivered before Shabbat in Israel. The psalm reads, "Do not be silent and do not be still, O God, for your enemies and those who hate you raise their heads. They raise their heads against your people, and they take counsel against your protected ones. They said, 'Come, let us destroy them from being a nation, and the name of Israel will no longer be remembered.' Those from Edom, Ishmaelites, Moab, Amalek, Philistia, and the inhabitants of Tyre, as a fire that burns in a forest and a flame that burns mountains, so will you pursue them, O God. With your tempest, and with your whirlwind, you will terrify them. Let them, your enemies, be ashamed and terrified forever. Let them be disgraced and perish from this earth. Let them know that you, your name alone, is the Lord our God, most high over all the earth, and they will be heard no more." Thousands of years ago, that was written by David as a psalm, and how it has such meaning, I think, for all of us today. Well, we have a lot to look forward to this summer, and our president of our congregation, Stephen Wellens, will tell you everything.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody watching. I want to just highlight a few things that are happening, and then I just want to share a thought that I have. March 8th, we have a game show and Havdalah dinner at the Attic in Gypsum with Denver families. So it's for children and your families. Please talk to Michelle if you want to participate. March 14th is Purim, my favorite, Habantashen. I promise I won't eat too much of it. April 10th, we'll have a Passover cooking class, I believe. I don't know who's doing that, but you'll hear more about it as we go along. And then we're going to be into the summer, and we have been really, really hard at work planning dozens and dozens of events. There's something for everybody, something for every person in your family, and we hope that you're here and celebrate them and enjoy them. And we've got some things that we're planning that are even going to be amazing, so we hope that you show up. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say that, February started with the joy of my life. My godson, I don't have kids, who was married, and since February 1st, I've lost 3 very dear friends, one today. It's been a tough month. But my nightmare is nothing in comparison to what these families have suffered for all of these months. And this is finally coming to an end. And there'll be some peace and there's some closure for these families of Israel. And on behalf of the board, the rabbi, Janet, Cantor Michelle, we could not be more proud of what this congregation has done over the last 15 or 16 months to support Israel, to support the families. You've been incredibly generous. You've come and offered things that we never asked for. Nobody said no. And I think it says a lot about this community and this congregation that we did what we needed to do when our name was called. And I think that's what we should be doing as Jews. And I personally couldn't be more proud, but I know the board and the leadership here couldn't be more proud of everybody here and everybody in this congregation. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Next week, we've got 12 IDF soldiers who are going to be here. They're going to be here for a week-long healing session. We've got a lot of things planned, but one of the amazing things is the Rabbi Cantor and I are going to be hosting a session in the chapel at the hospital in front of our wall, and it's going to be their send-off back to Israel. They thought they were going back to Gaza, but hopefully they'll go back to a little bit less stress, and we thank you for all that you guys do. Thank you.
We also have, and I think Michelle can explain more, the pilots that are coming.
Oh, yes, there are a couple of pilots coming. There's a facility in Gypsum called HATS, the High Altitude Aviation Training School, and people come from all over the world to train how to fly planes and helicopters there. And there are a couple of IDF soldiers who are coming to train at HATS next week, and so we're excited to be hosting them. And we're also looking for somebody who would like to have them for Shabbat dinner. So if somebody would like to host them for Shabbat dinner, please I guess just send me an email at cantor@bnayvail.org, and we would love to arrange that. They'll be in Gypsum, but they will be coming out this
They
way.
let us know that there's really no place in Israel where they can do high-altitude training, so you're way above the mountains, just in case the time ever came that they would have to do high-altitude warfare. So this is their place to be, and we're pleased to host them. Next week is a special service. It'll be right over here.
Yes,
In the round. I'm going to be in San Francisco. There are thousands of Gold Star families that gather in San Francisco. Starting in the Civil War, it used to be that you would hang a blue star in your window to show that you had a service member who was serving in the war, and it went on through World War II, Korea, and even up to today. When one of your family members dies in combat, a Gold Star goes in your window. So thousands of these families will be gathering in San Francisco, and they asked if I would come out to be their chaplain for that period of time, which is also over Shabbat. But Cantor Michelle is going to offer this very special service in the round for all of us next week. You'll also notice as we open the Ark for Aleinu that we didn't just decide to wrap a tallis around the Torah. Don and Myrna Sigmund were such important founders of our congregation, and when Myrna passed away, we always wanted to honor her and remember her with her Torah. So her cover it's got pretty old, but she made a beautiful needlepoint, so it's now being totally refurbished, and we'll have it in the next couple of weeks to rededicate Myrna's Torah, and it's really beautiful, and we keep that needlepoint going with her memory as well. We're going to return to our prayer books on page 60. We rise and join together. Aleinu.
I want to invite you to do something a little different for Aleinu tonight. I just got home from Song Leader Boot Camp, which is a big Jewish music conference in St. Louis. And I had the opportunity, I was invited to lead a lot of the programming there, which was so lovely. So I got to teach one of my songs. I got to help out with a choir that was being done there for 500 people. And I also got to take part in leading tefillot and leading services in the morning. And this is one of the new Aleinu versions that we did. So I'd like to invite you to try this along with me. Ein od, ein od, ein od, ein od. That's your whole part. Let's try it. Ein od, ein od, ein od, ein od. Let's try it again. Ein od, ein od, ein od, ein od. A little bit louder. Ein od, ein od, ein od, ein od. Keep going with that. Aleinu l'shabech la'adon ha'kol לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא עשנו חלקנו ככם וגורלנו ככל המונם אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינת עוזו גב מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד אמת מלכנו את בסולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום להשבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד אין עוד 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 אין עוד.
At this moment in memory of our loved ones who are no longer with us, we join hands in love and remembrance. A link has been broken in the chain that bound us together, yet strong bonds of home and love hold us one to another. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links the generations one to another, call to mind those whose yahrzeit we observe this month. Lawrence Edelman, Alan Bagulli, Robert L. Bernstein, Louis Blank, Helen Braunstein, Gladys Brodsky, Maxine Brunwasser, Nancy Budd, Ethel Cohen, Carl Dietz, Toby Dvorkin, William Fishback, and Joan Frummer, Molly Futernick, Maurice Goldberg, Daniel Goodman, Lily Grabowski, Irene Grossman, Bob Janko, Bernice Jenkins, Lee Kay, Mary Kent, Jack Leeds, Raymond Lumry, and Brandon Merritt, George Mintzer, Anna Nadell, Arlene Neperant, Doris Ulch, Richard Peller, Gary Plotnick, Molly Raymer, Lester Reese, Victor Resnick, Bernice Resnick, Irving Ross, Robert Rubin, and Jim Sandberg, Charlotte Schiff, Ben Schnapp, Jenny Lou Schoolman, Fred Schwartzstein, Arthur Shapiro, and Marjorie Schenholz, Adele Siegel, Charlie Stakowitz, Howard Solomon, Dawn Soslin, Dorothy Spector, Yetta Spiro, Norman Spitzmiller, Sheila Strauss, C.J. Tenner, and Lillian Wagner. Also our condolences to Kenny, Daniel, Ari, Stephen, and the Schultz family in the loss of Dr. Robert Schultz. If anyone else is observing Yahrzeit this month. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found in our prayer books, page 64, and those who wish may join with me as we say, Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash shemei rabbah, v'almad yivrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv imramein. Yehesh shmei rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'me'omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Tadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudisha brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, tamiran v'yama v'imramein. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imramein. Oseh shalom v'imramav, huya seh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imramein. May be seated. Hatikva, right? I think in recognition of the tragedy that Israel has gone through, not just for the 503 days, but for what we experienced this week. On page 70, let's rise one more time. We'll join together Hatikva.
Kolot balevav penima, nefesh Yehudi homia, ulfaate mizrach kadima, ayin letzion Sophia. Olo avda tikvatenu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liotam chofshi be'artzenu, eretz Zion ve'Yerushalayim, liotam chofshi be'artzenu, eretz Zion ve'Yerushalayim.
Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai avarecha t'mo v'shalom. May the Lord grant strength into our people. Bless all of us with peace. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
Shabbat shalom.
Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer le'olam, hachol ve'ayam, rish rush shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam, hachol ve'ayam, rish rush shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam.
time, maybe we were bringing them.